G'day everyone and welcome to the Zwift Power Up podcast. Today we've got the amazing Anna van der Breggen, who is 3-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about the upcoming eSport world champs, and I guess we're going to talk about her victories in her world championships this year. She won the time trial and she won the road race. But firstly, this podcast is brought to you by Garmin Tax. Engineered on the inside for life on the outside, Garmin Tax products have revolutionised life for runners, cyclists, swimmers and athletes of all levels and abilities. Committed to developing technology that helps people stay active and elevate performance. Garmin Tax believes every day is an opportunity to innovate and a chance to beat yesterday. For more information, just visit garmin.com. So thank you very much for joining us. It's this morning for you, it's this evening for me. Where in the world are you right now?
I'm in the Netherlands. So in the south of the Netherlands, we live for a couple of months. I just had off-season. Off-season. Normally this is the period to go on holiday or to have at least to have rest. So I just had 4 weeks of resting and now starting training slowly again.
So how's the weather starting to look in your neck of the woods? Are you ready for some time on your Tax Neo, and is it ready for some indoor training on Zwift?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the weather outside is bad, then I would like to go on the trainer. But for now, I must say it's still really good. So I can do some training outside. But yeah, if the intensities of the training start to go up, it's also nice sometimes to do a indoor training session. But yeah, I'm now in an area with a lot of climbs, so it's also possible to do it outside. You can do some rough climbs, so that's good.
Yeah, brilliant. So you're in a nice area where, and the weather at the moment's still fine. So yeah, after a nice off season. I was just going to ask a quick question about how the regulations are in the Netherlands with the COVID pandemic at the moment. What sort of restrictions are you dealing with at the moment?
Yeah, well, we can have people at home, but there was a maximum of 2 people you can invite in the house, and now they I think actually from today on it can be 3 again, but still not too much. Riding outside is the same actually. It was 2 people, and from today on can be 4. So we can ride with really small groups. But yeah, I mean, I prefer also to ride alone or with 2 sometimes. But yeah, you see quite often some big groups. But I think this period it's not very wise to do it. But like if there's some family coming, my brother or whatever, then it's nice to go on a mountain bike, going out and to do together or together with my husband. So then we are with 3.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that's So like I said, I'm in quarantine at the moment in New Zealand. So once I finish 2 weeks here, it's just life is as normal. It's
You must be so lonely at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit of PlayStation and a little bit of work here and there, and to keep myself occupied. So, obviously, we're really honoured to have you here. One of the most prolific winners, most successful women's cyclist to date in the modern era. So, just a quick question: what age did you actually start cycling, and why cycling? So where did that all stem from?
I started cycling actually quite early. I think I was 7. Yeah, 7 probably. Because you need to be at the age of 8 to go to a club team. Well, just a club, which was in our hometown. And my brother was doing that. So I saw him going to training, and I saw with his friend going on the bike, and actually, I liked that from the beginning on. And then sometimes on Saturday he had a race, and I was going with him. And then at one point they had a race, but for normal bikes. So kids with normal bikes could race first, and then after the cyclists were racing. So for me that was great because I really felt like a cyclist already on my normal bike. And that's actually how it started a bit.
Yeah, good. And so you're racing on a normal bike. You've gone to watch your brother. You're chasing your brother around, watching him race. So your first ever race, was it a victory? And was it like all of a sudden, okay, this is something I enjoy. This is something that fuels the fire.
I actually won on the normal bike, and I was racing against some pretty big boys, so that was really nice. But I remember my first race on the cycling bike. Yeah, I had a flat tire, and I had to walk for a long time to go back to the finish. So I was crying. That was my first cycling race. Yeah, not too good.
You're actually on a cycling bike, you punctured and had to walk back to the start.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh, no way. And current dual world champion, incredible world championships, congratulations. Now, how many world titles, how many rainbow jerseys do you actually have in your household at the moment?
I have 3 at the moment. So it's...
3?
One from 2018, the world championship on the road. And
in Innsbruck?
And 2 from this year.
Incredible! Like three times world champions. Like the Innsbruck race. Like I was there in capacity with Zwift, and I just remember the Dutch team, just the phenomenal Dutch team, and you know, wasn't sure what sort of tactics were going to play out that year. What was your thoughts going in? You know, even the night before, or even the morning of the race of your very first chance of winning the world title.
Yeah, man, I was nervous. I think my thoughts were...
nerves are good.
Yeah, nerves are good. Then you take it seriously, I always say. But yeah. Of course, the preparation started already early, and I knew the course, yeah, it was a nice course. It was, I think, until that point, one of the most heavy courses we had. Like, we had a first already... how do I say it? We had a local lap and a first part, and that was already a really tough climb. But then you have the local lap, and it was just one brutal climb, and then a downhill small part in the finish down, and then you did the climb again. And we did that for 3 laps, so it was climbing a lot. Like I think we didn't have before that much races who looked like this. So I was really excited already when I saw the parcours, and we've also been on altitude training there just to reckon the course and to get to know it really well. So I was excited, and I also could feel like this could be my chance to be world champion for the first time. And the years before I was a couple of times second already. So for me it was a big dream just to be able to ride in the rainbow jersey for a year, and I was just that morning I was just nervous that it was really the day, and that it needed to happen that day. And I think you just focused on the job you have to do, and eating well, sleeping well before that, all those things. So I was pretty confident. We had a strong team also, so yeah.
Did you have the race tactic in your mind? Because if I remember rightly, it was a very early attack that you went, and it was just phenomenal. No one could match it. Was that part of the plan, or was it just a gut feel out there on the moment? This is the moment to go, let's go.
No, it was a tactic, because it was also a course this hard, and it was only going up and down actually. It was pretty okay to go early, because when you go up you have to do it alone anyway. You also can feel it on Swift. It's hard, and you have to ride your own pace. And the downhill and also the part in the town was, you could do it alone. So we had the tactic just not wait too long, because also Annemiek was feeling good, and it also really suited her, the course. But if you wait too long, like, everybody can feel the finish already in the last lap, and then probably it's getting harder to attack and to get away. So she really would like to start with attacking. Annemiek did, and it was I think in the first local lap when she went, And straight after, I think the group came back together, and it was up to me to attack after this. So yeah, it was the plan, and it was quite early, but I attacked, and at that moment I realized it was quite early. But yeah, it's too late for that, and you just have to go. And I was feeling very well, so it's just eating really well and pacing good, so you can keep up all the time and all the 3 laps which were coming after. So at the same time, it's also a pretty incredible feeling that you're riding on front.
Yeah, because it was such an aggressive course, and like you mentioned, it's when you're going uphill, it's like if you climb, there's no slipstream, or there's not very much slipstream involved. It's up or down, and I mean. But how far out from the finish, can you remember exactly how many kilometres to go did you attack and go solo?
Good question. I think it was around 45k, I think. 3 laps. I can't remember that good how far the laps were, but it was far enough.
Yeah, it was long enough. It was long enough, that's for sure. But absolutely, when you're out there in the front and... the rest of the world's chasing you. I'm sure that's this extra, extra motivation. Well, not that you need extra motivation for a world title.
And it's also not, you're not counting in case you have to do. It's more like you are on front and you're thinking how many climbs still to do. So I attacked on the first one, and then you're not thinking very much. And then after, I still have to do the climb 2 times, and that was actually the main thing you're thinking of on the bike. I still have to do this climb 2 times, and it was a long climb, but you're not thinking in like, I still have to do 40 or 50k. No, it's just 2 times this climb. And then if I had done the last time climb, then it was only downhill until the finish almost. So that's like I said, it was quite a different parcours than compared to other races.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then if we skip forward 2 years, so to this year, we did the double. I mean, unbelievable. Was which was sweeter? I mean, it seems ridiculous to even compare rainbow jersey with rainbow jersey, but is there a favourite?
That's a question people always ask us. What's more important? But I always answer, if you have more chances, so it's already a luxury, you can choose between races. But if you have more chances, you just try to win every race. And every possibility is one possibility. But I was laying on the massage table, I remember, before the time trial. And then my soigneur was asking the same, like, which race do you like to win more, like the time trial or the road race? And I said, maybe this year the time trial, because I had been so many times so close to winning the time trial, and I trained a lot on it, and I did a lot for it this season, and also in the Corona period that we were at home. So and I think it was also because the time trial was coming up the next day, and the road race is then even further away, so I said the time trial.
Yeah, nice.
But of course now if you also have the road race after, then the road race is also important.
Oh, of course. It was that was a pleasure to watch also. Okay, then if I just change the question up a little bit and go, what about from world road title to world road title, which was the most special?
Difficult questions here. I mean,
sorry.
I mean, it's beautiful when you can be a world champion. It's an amazing feeling, and that was the first time. Maybe it feels different because it's the first time, and every first time for something is a new experience. So I really couldn't believe the first time I was world champion that it really happened. And I think that was the second time a bit less, because you already experienced it, but still, you don't have many chances in your life as an athlete to become world champion. So it's a really special moment, and that was for both of the world titles.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. So I rode the track for many years and was third and second and third, and I'd never won a world title. And finally, when I won the world championships, it was that moment of finally, that relief. And the first time is just amazing. And I was doing my victory laps on the velodrome, and they literally had to pull me off my bike because I just kept going round and round in circles. They had to usher me off the velodrome.
Yeah.
I was just so ecstatic when I finally got to wear a rainbow jersey. So I can appreciate the emotions, and I've never obviously gone on to road victories like that, but it's incredible. But what sort of challenges did you come across getting to where you are today? Any major setbacks or difficulties with clubs or competition or competitors, or any major challenges from the road from day dot to where we are today?
It's basically asking about my life until this point.
Kind of. Like, any major setbacks though? Like anything major where it was like, okay, this is a big crash. This is going to take me, a big time to a couple of months, or anything major.
I think with crashes or anything, I'm pretty lucky as an athlete, and especially as a cyclist, because it's quite a dangerous sport. But I crashed one time in 2014 in the team time trial we did in Ponferrada. It was in Spain, and that was a bad crash. Like, I broke my hip, and it took me a while to get back from that. But beside that, actually, I can be quite lucky so far that I was most of the time healthy, and of course always some small problems. But I think every athlete has always some small problems.
Yeah, but that actually shows. I think it shows a skill when you talk to an athlete that doesn't have, major setbacks or injuries, especially a cyclist. I think that sort of demonstrates quite a skill in the peloton, because I don't know if you agree or not, but there's always those same sort of people that crash, and they crash often and they crash hard, and if you're one of those riders that you can always sort of avoid crashes, you can see what's going to happen in the peloton. So I think that's a skill actually, is people that don't have those major crashes, unless it's a bunch sprint or something like that, and you've got 5 guys down in front of you.
Well, like sometimes you really cannot avoid things, but I think it has two things. Like, you have some girls, they're just not scared. They just can do anything without being scared. And if I look to myself, I'm just quite a rider who is, if I like to take risks, it's even not possible for me. I mean, sometimes in downhills, when I see all those, mostly young girls fighting around me, I think, okay, I will wait a bit and I will come later. So that's a bit also the person you are, I think. So yes. I'm pretty careful in this.
It's the same in the men's peloton, like the young fellas now, just with no fear, and like they just do not touch the brakes, and it's like, because I retired. I did my last tour, I was 40 years old, and I'm leading out Andre Greipel, and I'm not as fearless as I used to be when I was 30, like things like that. So it was, and you can see it, the development now. According to you, the team time trial, you've described it as one of the most beautiful disciplines in cycling.
Yeah.
What do you love so much about the team's time trial?
Oh, I still really think it is. It's so good because you are doing it with the whole team. That's first of all. Like, you're always riding with the whole team, but this time you actually win with the whole team. So that's already an aspect of it which I really like. And it's really something different than road cycling, because if, for example, if the fourth rider is, let's say less good than the other three, you really need to take care of that fourth rider. It's all about communication, and it's the same as, for example, if one rider is really strong, you can break the whole group with one rider.
100%.
And not because the rest is bad, but just because one rider is really strong. So it's
absolutely
so much about looking to each other. communicating and knowing how to do it, just like train really well on it and be honest, because you can be really good but have an off day. And then it's also sometimes really difficult to say in the race, hey, I skip one turn because otherwise I will drop. And that's asking for quite a lot of courage to do it. So it's really something you are, you need to be honest to each other, and it's really a team effort. And that's something, which is really difficult to do well. And also, I think, really satisfying if you are at the finish line and you all did the best you could, and you do it together.
I totally agree with you. I used to love the team's time trials myself. They were absolutely sufferfests because everybody would lay it on the line. But it's just getting the whole team to be fast. You know, it doesn't matter if you're doing short turns or long turns. It's actually just looking after each other and just as a unit being as fast as possible around the course.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like one is doing more than the other, but that's not true. In the end, everybody is probably the same tired at the finish line. So
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes even the fourth rider is like, so tired. But if you are the strongest one, you just have to do longer turns on front, not too fast, but not too slow. And it's so difficult to get it right. And I think that's the beautiful thing of it.
And you'll notice with the team's time trial, like the warm-up is very, very specific and very important. Do you warm up on your trainer before the race? And what sort of warm-up protocol do you use?
I use a trainer. And for the team time for the team time trial, we normally do also a lap on the circuit, if that's possible. It's not always possible, but just to get that feeling of turning and to riding in each other's wheel again. And that's mostly in the morning. And then just before the race, I would like to warm up on the trainer. I have a warm-up schedule around 15 minutes mostly. It depends a bit. If it's really cold outside, I make it a bit longer and then slower build up. And if it's really hot on the other side, then I make it shorter. Yeah,
that's really interesting. So a lot of people love to spend 30, 40 minutes on a warm-up, and it's just not needed. Like a good solid warm-up can be done within the 15-minute time period. So that's really interesting that you use that sort of protocol. It's really good to hear, actually. And are you the type of rider, so if we can ask, what metrics do you have on your Garmin head unit when you're racing a team's time trial or an individual time trial? Do you have everything available to you, or just some certain things available that you need to key off?
It depends what am I doing. Like in a team time trial, I also need to see the pace, which I don't have normally, or just really small on the normal time trial when I'm doing it alone.
Okay.
But my wattage I always can see, and so speed also, and then sometimes the time with it, but basically that's it.
So it's more important in a team's time trial to see the speed, so you know that you're keeping within the same pace or similar pace to everyone else and keeping the pace high.
Yeah, sometimes like if I ride in second wheel, I look to the pace and I look how fast the person in front of me is riding. And if you go in front, it's not always easy to feel if you speed up or if you slow down. And if I want to make sure, I just check if my speed is the same as it was with the turn before me. So it's just, you can feel a lot, but sometimes like if it goes a little bit up or down, it's difficult to feel. So it's just to make sure I keep the pace at the same level.
Absolutely. And then obviously with an individual time trial, it's the wattage is very important, and you want to keep, you'll have set your wattage and your pacing strategies for the race, so your wattage is bigger on your Garmin head unit for an individual time trial.
Yeah, actually my wattage and my case, how many Ks I did is sometimes nice to see. I mean, I know the course totally, but still it's sometimes nice to see. But actually only two things. So like when I go for training on the road bike, it's I have more on the screen. You can put a lot on it. Sometimes it's interesting to have a bit more, but the wattage is the most important always. And for training, of course, the time you are riding is also nice to see.
No, I totally agree with you. So, another question that gets swung around quite a bit is, we know that cycling, it takes so much time and so much effort, and there's so much training that goes into being a top-level professional cyclist. What drives you to get up in the morning and go training every day?
I think it's just a sort of motivation. Every period, like, I think for me the most difficult period in training is now, after you have you have a nice stop after the season, you have winter, sometimes you go on holiday this period, and then you have to get back to training. But knowing the races are let's say the end of March or April, the important ones, so it's still far away to have your first race, and then now you have to start training when it's cold outside, raining a lot. So sometimes it's also difficult for me, but it's not like you always think about those races. I know I need a proper preparation. I need endurance training now again. And for me also, after not being on the bike like normal for 4 weeks, I really can feel my body changed a bit, and also a 3-hour ride for me is hard again. So I also like that feeling, kind of, that your body really needs the training to get back in shape and to be a good rider again. So for me, the first, like now, the goal is just to get back into endurance training and to feel better every week. And I make goals of every week, so I don't take the long period. Of course, it's in the back of your head, but I just take week by week, and then I have a goal just to complete all the trainings in this week. And then, mostly we do something nice in the weekend, like a mountain bike ride or something different, have some nice food, whatever. So it's actually small blocks every week, and that's really motivating me, just to have short goals and to accomplish every day by training.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's really interesting for the listeners, actually. So don't think too far in advance. Don't think about the classics coming up in 5 months or 4 months' time, or don't think about the World Championships next year. It's like, tick this little box here now, tick the box in front of me. That's complete this week. Then tick the next box, and then gradually take a step, one step at a time, get fitter and fitter and fitter, and then move on to the next challenge. That's really interesting, and I think it's
exactly.
It reads really well for professionalism in sport and longevity in sport. That's really awesome. So what do you think, personally, what are your strengths as both an athlete and a person, like on and off the bike? What are your strengths? What makes Anna van der Breggen tick?
That's a good question again. That's always difficult to think about yourself and to say, okay, which point is good from me. I think if I see one goal, when I have one goal in my head, I really can go deep for it, just to accomplish it. But at the same time, I have the feeling sometimes I'm two persons in one, because when I'm off the bike and when I'm not training, I don't see that goal very much in front of me, and then I'm quite relaxed as a person, or I like to do things totally different than cycling. So, for example, if I get out of my bed in the morning, I know what I have to do, which training I have to do, and I'm prepared to do it. And then when I get off my bike, I can really enjoy a good lunch, because you're always hungry when you train. So that's the good thing of it. And then,
true.
For example, in the afternoon, I like to do totally different things and not to think too much about cycling. So for me, that's working, because it keeps me balanced, and I think it also keeps my mind a bit challenged. Like, it's not only cycling, it's not only working to the goal you have in mind, but it's also sometimes shopping or family or baking or whatever you like to do for me. So that's helping me pretty well to keep focused also.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and it keeps your mind fresh also. Like it's, you're not one of these people that comes back from training and instantly jumps on cycling news websites and
exactly.
scrolls through.
Yeah, but it's. I think it's different for every person. Like you have some athletes, they come back home and they start to do a lot of recovery training and like core stabilities. I also do, but for me that's a planned training. Yeah, yes. Just to go on the rollers or you have many things you can do to recover very well. So some people like to be busy with it all the time, and that's also good. But for me, it wouldn't work if I do it like that.
Okay, so a short-term goal, other than the weekly check boxes where you tick off each week and get fitter and fitter and feel the body adjusting back to training, we've got the e-sport World Championships coming up. What's your thoughts about this whole new dynamic sort of regime of cycling? It's another like skill set really, Zwift racing or esports racing, and the World Champs coming up. Can you talk a little bit about that and your previous experiences and then maybe some specific work that you might actually be doing leading into the World Championships?
Yeah, it is something totally different than like road cycling. I wasn't a big fan of going on the rollers before I met Zwift actually. But I must say, just to experience going on Zwift and meet people online, and also like if the road goes up on Zwift that you really need to pedal harder, all those things were pretty amazing to see for me for the first time, and that it's actually possible to have contact with each other on an online program. It is pretty interesting. And also in the Corona period last year, we did like group rides with the team for the first time on Zwift, which is really nice because you have the feeling you're riding together. You can communicate with some programs with it. So for me that was really an eye-opener that it can be nice. And also I did some races on it. You need actually some different talents for it, and it's uncomparable to road cycling. But I think it's really nice to have it's like a new sport. And I hear it also a lot from the people around me that also they can go on it after work, and also in this time when it's raining outside or when it's dark very early, then it's so nice to make appointments with friends or with people from Zwift, and just to go on Zwift together and ride together somewhere. I think that's something which is really special for me, that's possible, and also for some people I think they can have a new sport, and it's something really nice to do if you experienced it a couple of times.
In the current pandemic crisis and things, it's all going to be done remotely, but I think it'll still be a really, really interesting week for the World Championships. You're going to have some fantastic riders lining up.
Yeah.
Are you excited about it?
No, I'm actually more scared about it. No, but like I said, I think it's really a sort of different discipline, so it also is asking for different skills. I experienced also most of the times there will be a sprint, which is not my strongest point. But for me, it's just nice to experience something new, to experience this new discipline, and just to be there and to go to the start line, and it's already really special. And I have no unrealistic goal of winning this race, because I think the woman who is winning this is just a really strong woman, and it's really difficult to win it.
And you have to remember that's so important with Zwift is the gamification side of Zwift. So, you've always got to be very wary of what power up you have, whether you've got, you know, an aero helmet to use in the sprint, because it just makes such a difference in the final. So that's another thing that comes into the whole racing scheme of Zwift, is the gamification side.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to have some experience with it, and you need to practice this. For me, my level is not there yet, but yeah, it's just the more times you do it, the more you know how to do it. Like, especially in a sprint, it's
Yes.
just not only a sprint, but you need I even don't know which one it is, but if you have the aero helmet, I think,
Yes.
yeah, you need it in the sprint, otherwise, and also timing, because if you start sprinting too early and you really think, oh, I'm gonna win this, and then 10 people are crossing you just before the line. So yeah, it's all about those things. It's really difficult and also tactical, but really nice to do.
Yeah. No, it can be really fun, the racing, that's for sure. And it's honest racing, you know, like when you're sitting on in the peloton, it's not like sitting on in a real bunch, you know, where you can sort of float along on the pedals and hide from the wind. Like, if you float on the pedals in Zwift, you're straight out the back, and as soon as you lose the slipstream, you're gone.
You're totally gone, and you will never come back. And it's so much harder just to be in the bunch. Like, on the road, it's easy to be in a bunch, but on Zwift it's so hard. So it's not how it looks like.
Yeah, I know, it's great. Anna, just a quick question. How did it feel lining up on Innsbruck on Zwift compared to the World Championships that you actually won your first world title on? That must have been a pretty strange feeling.
It was pretty strange because, of course, I know the course really well. We did the World Championship in Innsbruck, and then suddenly you are on the start line again. But then, yeah, you are sitting on your home trainer at home, and then being in Innsbruck again. But it's so different in the e-world. You can recognize all the places where we were riding.
Yes.
But like we said, it's so hard to be in the bunch, and I think it was the first race of most of my teammates also. So we explained a bit, and we were searching on the internet, like which power-ups you use for what and when. And
oh, excellent.
Okay, and we prepared it pretty well, I must say, and we had communication, so we could talk to each other.
Yeah, nice.
And then the start was there, and we already knew, okay, we need to start hard, but still.
Yeah, because Zwift races,
you start
they
really
start
hard.
so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, so fast.
I don't know why, but I think, it's somebody started with this, and then everybody is starting fast, so everybody is telling each other that you need to start fast, and it's just getting faster and faster.
It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe I can change this. But anyway,
change this. Definitely, please do.
It's still like this. So you start full gas, and then still a couple of teammates were lost already at the start line, and then
oh no!
And then we pushed. I remember Jip pushed a button of the power up while it was not useful at all. So that you are riding full, and you still try to tell Jip that the power up is not really useful at this moment, and it was just a big chaos at this race. So yeah, like we said, experience is pretty nice if you do races, but it's really for your intensity training. It's a really good thing to try. That was the biggest experience.
It's huge intensity, isn't it? It's 40 minutes of just flat stick,
full gas,
dial up the red zone and your heart rate, and just go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least now for the World Championships coming up, you've got a little bit more experience on your side, and you've used Zwift now, and you have an idea of the power-ups to use. So
yeah, but I'm the thing I'm missing, I think, is shape, because I just had my winter stop, and probably the persons who are really are prepared well for this. They have done a lot of training, so yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I will see how it goes. I will try my best, but I don't expect the much of it.
No, you've had an absolutely fantastic season. Again, congratulations on your 2 world titles this year, and of course you've had a nice off season. You're just starting back training, so of course everybody understands that you're not going to be the A game Anna van der Breggen on the start line, but
hopefully
it's nice that you're turning up and showing the support for the E-World Championships. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for joining us on the podcast this evening or this morning or whenever we're listening to it on this group ride, and I wish you all the very best in the not only the upcoming E-Sports World Championships but in the coming season.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was nice to be here and to talk about the E-World Championships, and I'm really curious about it for sure.
Cool. I wish you all the best. Thanks very much for chatting.
Thank you.